What's up, all you motorcycle enthusiasts, and welcome to the V-Twin Life here on YouTube. We talk motorcycles powered by those V-Twins, what fuels their passion, why you enjoy it so much. V-Twin Life is brought to you by these two great companies, Crash Inc. Clothing and Wild Ass Seats. Hey, you want to add some comfort to your ass when you're out riding, whether you're a 400-mile guy, or maybe a guy that's pushing 1,000 plus, or female rider for that matter? Hey, check out wild-ass.com and add some comfort to your ass. Can't forget Crashing Clothing, that Northwest brand out of the Pacific Northwest. Hey, these guys got a lot of great stuff, from t-shirts to hats, raincoats, you name it. Hey, they can get you covered. Check out crashingclothing.com. Now, let's dive into another milepost of the V-Twin Life. Hey, what's up, all you motorcycle enthusiasts, and welcome back to another milepost of the V-Twin Life here. Milepost 73, we got the man, the myth, the legend. Wow, that's great.
Don't start me there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. I went there right off the get-go. Had to.
Yep.
So how's it been going, buddy?
It's been good. How about with you?
Good. Actually been good. Got out for a nice ride today. Me and Amy went out and took a nice loop. Went had lunch down in Paulsville, right on the water, and got a nice little 130-ish mile ride. And we've been having beautiful weather, and you know, we're sitting there last night. We should go for a ride and go have lunch tomorrow, breakfast. All right. Don't tell me twice.
Hard to argue with that, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I barely made it on time. I got a message through Messenger from an old friend of mine that basically they followed the Hoka Hey ride, and she was telling me how they went camping. And she's like, nothing like what you were doing, but where they were staying, they had a motorcyclist pull in and camp. Sounded like they ran into a couple. I just kind of cruised through it quick because I knew we had this coming up. And she met some lady that was on this long ride and cooked her dinner, and it was pretty cool. So it was neat. They just kind of decided they should open conversation with this lady, and it turned out to be a pretty cool story. So I told her, watch out, your boy's going to become a biker if he hears too many of these cool stories.
Hey, the camaraderie within the community is just awesome. I mean, hands down.
It is. Yep, it's cool. So anyway, I made it, and I think we barely made it on time. So
no, it's pretty good watching the intro, and you're adjusting everything, trying to get stuff set up, and no, that's good. No sense of being prepared. Just got to dive into it and go.
Just got to wing it. That's my style.
So you guys had a pretty good event at Sturgis for Wild Ass. Sounds like you guys really did some sales.
It was good. Yeah, I mean it gets better every year. Sorry, I didn't think of this before I left work, and I have a tripod, but of course it's not here, and I am. Not even wearing a Wild Ass hat. Yeah, it was good. It was really good. The thing we have going for us is just age. Now we're in our 7th year of business, so people that have bought in Wild Ass are now bringing their friends back to buy Wild Ass. So that's pretty cool.
Awesome.
That word of mouth is, priceless.
Hey, can't beat that.
Yeah.
So, what do you think, after, the Hoka Hey? Now, did you have any kind of second guessings, when it got close, or, getting kind of nervous about it at all? Because, I mean, that's one heck of a adventure to take on.
You mean before the event?
Yeah, but before it started, did you ever have any, second thoughts like, what am I doing?
Oh, yeah. Every day. Every day. And that goes back like months leading up to it. I had a couple of really good mentors. I had 3 mentors, 2 of which I talked with quite often. Hop, of course, had a bunch of good advice for me. Paco, I talked with him quite a bit. He and I become friends over the years. And I talked with Riot a lot. And Riot and I become pretty close, actually. But I had a lot of doubts and a lot of questions and a lot of what the hell am I doing? And those guys talked me through it. Yeah, it was cool. The biggest question was I'm going to be on this old bike to do it on, but it was fine.
It was quite, following it and, all your guys' stories and, the pictures and, following a handful of people and watching everything. And it's crazy, and to think, I got like 1/10 of the experience last weekend, and it's, I have all newfound, even more respect. I mean, what you guys did, for that amount of time, the secondary roads, camping like hobos on the side of the road. And, we did it for one night, and that part was awesome. But it's like, I really learned, just from my little event doing it, it is really hard to get that miles every day when you're on those secondary back roads, because that is one hell of a challenge.
Yeah, and I don't know what you had for directions. I mean, our directions were pretty laid out. I mean, so really all we had to do was just keep following directions. As far as the sleeping outside, I was pretty worried about that going in. And, that was one thing where Riot said, well, you're going to be in a group. No matter how fast you're riding, those first 2-3 days, you're going to be on the same pace as somebody. So you will find people to, help sleep with. It'll be a large group the first night, and it'll dwindle down, and it'll get easier every night as you do it. So that was the case. The first night we bed down, there was probably, I want to say 4 or 5 other bikers in this parking lot. We rolled into at an old gas station. There was 3 of us together. We kind of just, we become friends before Scrubs. And for the life of me, I'm drawing a blank on his buddy's name. And then myself, and it was like a rotation. Like I wasn't going to wait for them at gas stations. I didn't want them waiting for me because I had to stop way more often than everybody else. So when I would do that, I didn't want them waiting for me, but we ended up being on the same pace, throughout the whole day. So that night I stopped to check the map. Basically you have to flip the page because we were at the end of the page, and flip the page, and they rolled up and it was the same thing. And we're like, hey, like, you want to roll together and we'll go find a place to crash? Yep, that's perfect. So we found a place, and like I say, there's, I don't know, 4 or 5 bikes there. I can't remember. I woke up probably 3:30 in the morning the next day, and there was probably like 25 bikes in this parking lot. It was like 25 homeless dudes on motorcycles. So that gets more and more. So like you say, you got a little taste of it, with 6 or 7 of you. That was the worst. I was most worried about that part, was finding a place by myself. But night 2, I didn't want to wait for anybody. I found a place to crash by myself. So I got over it quickly.
Yeah, kind of a little learning curve.
Yeah, it was very quick. And I didn't sleep. I didn't really look for anybody to do that with the rest of the trip. It happened a couple times, but for the most part, I was by myself, and it was kind of nice.
Now, what'd you do kind of for, food wise, with just kind of gas station munchies when you stop for fuel, or did you kind of pack anything for some snacks along the way, or?
So, this is something I don't know. A lot of the people, even the people close to me, didn't think I was going to be able to pull this off, but I've been working at this for a year, because you have to sign up a year in advance. Mm-hmm. And, I started working at it before I even was accepted, because I was waiting for the schedule to come out. We work so many different rallies and events. I was just waiting, and, there's a couple of big events that always happen when this thing is scheduled. And it's like, well, I can't do those. I can't do the Hoka Hey if these events fall on top of it. So, I had a year working up to this, and I was experimenting with different foods, different things to eat, what to drink, how much to drink. And I had it pretty nailed down. I had, about 2,000 calories a day, plus whatever shit I picked up at the gas station. And then water, hydration packs, things like that, I had all figured out. So what I did is I went and bought all the stuff that I thought I was going to need. And I took and divided it out. So in the shop, we bagged everything. Like I bagged a day's worth of food and beverage, believe it or not, between protein drinks, water, stuff like that. But I bagged it all out. And then, so I knew I think I bagged like 16 bags worth. I thought that way, if I need to eat more, I can. And if I don't, no big deal. Well, I took 4 days worth of food and 1 change of clothes, and I put it in the bike, and I shipped the rest of it to the checkpoints. They told us who the checkpoints were. Mm-hmm. And I had heard of people shipping parts and things like that. So I'm like, well, why can't I ship my food? Then I don't have to carry it with me. So that's what I did. Smart. And then at each checkpoint, I would just, we were told that the checkpoints were going to be manned 24 hours a day for I think it was a 72-hour window. So I knew all I had to do was get there during that window. This was my original thought. and I'd be able to get my stuff. So that's what I did. That's how I planned that out.
Okay, it saves you some room and weight also, and
Mm-hmm.
you only got so much room, and with all the stuff that people got to pack just for what they need for the day to day, and camping and whatnot that you got to go.
Yep.
Now you went
Yeah, I
with a
had my
cot, didn't
layout
you?
pretty. I did. I had my layout pretty good on the bike. I had basically everything behind the sissy bar was camping stuff. So it was a tarp, the cot, and then I had a large dry bag from Nelson Rig that, or Rig Gear. It's the same company. But I rolled my sleeping bag and my pillow and I crammed it all in there. And so that was waterproof. So it was the tarp, the, what did I say? It was the tarp, the cot, the dry bag with the sleeping bag and the pillow in it. And then I had a small tent on top of that. And then I had waterproof boots strapped to both, one to each side. That way, if I needed them, they were there, which I needed them every single day. But the camping gear was all there. So at night, I basically broke down the back of the bike and used what I needed to.
Well, it makes sense having that readily available, right? Where so you're not digging through other stuff, and that's a smart move, time saving aspect also of it.
Yeah, it worked out pretty well.
So, do you have any other ups and downs through it, or did everything kind of go somewhat smooth for you, or?
It went pretty smooth. Like I said, I had a year to prepare, so I was almost over prepared, and I felt good. The bike ran good. Physically, I was in good shape. I even had the time I needed to drink how much water figured out, so I didn't have to stop and pee all the time, and that worked out pretty well. How the heck did we? Like the fourth day, I think the first 2 or 3 days, I rode a lot. I rode pretty well. I got a lot of miles down. My, when you see the route sheet, and you can see on the sheet what states you're going to go through or enter, and I could see we were going to be in the plains. And my logic became, if I could make the first checkpoint in 3 days, I'm ahead of schedule. So that's really what I shot for was, let's hustle and get there in 3 days because, my goal was to finish in 14. I'm
Right.
not foolish and I didn't have any desire. Of course I'd like to, I don't know how you say it, but I had no expectation of coming in 10 days like some of those guys. I wanted to be there for the finish line party. That was my goal.
That's a good goal. Honestly, I mean, that's a hell of a ride.
Yeah. So I knew if I could make the first checkpoint in 3 days, I could go from there. And, really I had to be there on the fourth day to make it in 14 days, if you break it down and do that. But I knew I had a full day ahead of me or a full day ahead of schedule at that point. And I got in, I think, kind of early, like mid-afternoon or something. It wasn't super late that third day. So I checked in, I kind of hung around the dealership and I think I grabbed a hat. I was going to get some gloves. I didn't have anything I liked. So I, grabbed my box that I shipped myself and put it all in the bike and basically looked around. I'm like, well, they were feeding everybody, I guess. So I had a hot dog or something. And then I'm like, yeah, I might as well go. I'm not going to sit here. So I jumped on the bike and took off. And I think I got, 4 or 5 more hours in that day. It was pretty awesome. So then,
Nice.
that put me way ahead of schedule. And, when I got that route sheet, I could see I was going to be in the plains quite a bit because we were leaving Kansas City. And I think there was quite a ways in Kansas and then Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico. I'm not super familiar with New Mexico other than, run the freeway up by Albuquerque. So I don't really know what New Mexico, I didn't know what the roads would be like, but I knew they were pretty flat getting there. So I knew if I could hustle and make some good time there, that, it would just put me a little farther ahead of schedule. And when I say schedule, I had a goal to do, to finish in that amount of time. I knew I had to do 715 miles a day. So that's what I tried to do. Excuse me. So every day I did more than that. And then to get to your question, like this is a super long way to get to your question. Like
No, this is good. I like it.
Yeah, the low point was that 5th morning. So the 3rd day or 4th day, I'm running and I've been riding. I've been feeling good, riding good. I'm eating good. I'm hydrated. I'm not tired. Everything's clicking right along. Bike's running good. And I wasn't going fast. I guess some of the people could see the tracking, the speeds we were doing. And I was usually low to mid 70s. So not really flying. When the speed limit was that, of course, that's how fast I was going. And then
Right.
that night, on the fourth night, I kept hearing back from home. Not Renee, she knew what was up, but I kept hearing from people close to me saying, "You need to relax, slow down. You don't have to go that fast. You're pushing it. Don't go too hard. Enjoy this." All these things, and that kind of got in my head a little bit on that fourth night. So I thought, I'm like, God, maybe they're right. Maybe I do need to take a break. So I ended up stopping about 9:30 at night, and I had typically been running until 11:30. And what happened is I basically went to bed too early. So I found a place and I, got my cot set up or whatever. And I'd have to look through pictures. I don't remember where I stayed that night, but I didn't go to sleep. I wasn't tired. So then, the deal when you go to bed too early and you can't sleep, well, now you're trying to fall asleep and that's worse. And your brain starts moving,
Yeah.
then you can't, and you're done. So I woke up and then, I slept, but I just slept like crap. So that morning, the fifth morning, I woke up and ended up, taking off, and I was riding, and it was a really tough part of the course. And I don't know where we were, excuse me, but it was these 10, 15, 20 mile an hour switchbacks. And it seemed like it was for 2 hours. It was just nonstop. And I wish I knew where we were. Maybe if I zoomed in on that day, because I did track every day on Rever, so I guess I could figure it out, but I don't know where it was. And it was just brutal. And I was tired and, not hitting my marks in the corners, just riding terrible. And at one point, I felt the front wheel do a double hop through a corner. And I'm like, well, that's not good. I don't know if you've ever felt that. But you come into
I've
a
had
corner
one
and then
slide.
and it just basically pushed, just pop up real quick. And I'm like, well, that wasn't right. And so I slowed down and I noticed that the roads were wet. I'm like, when did that happen? I'm like, I need to stop. I need to stop. I need to take a nap. I need to reset today because this is not going to end well if I don't. And I did. I found a place where I could put the kickstand down and the bike was just about straight up and down. So what I did was I basically crept myself forward on the seat, put my feet over the highway pegs, and laid back on my bag and just out. I set my timer for 20 minutes, and when it went off, it woke me up. I was out immediately. So once I got up from that and took off, life was good again. I mean, it was just like, it was all I needed to do is just reset. I need to reset today and start over. And that's what I did. And it got better.
Sometimes
So
those
that was
short
a
little
low point.
power naps can be huge for some people. I know I got a buddy that he can't do it whatsoever, but man, I got a problem with it sometimes, and it can be a refresher.
I can do it anywhere. And Renee
Oh, me
always
too.
laughs because I can lay down, right on the sidewalk and fall asleep. And in fact, I do that. So on the last day might've been a low point too, a little bit because, well, we can get to that later. Let's talk about that later. But the last day was really brutal because I think I let myself get dehydrated the day before, which only just compounds your fatigue. And then I was riding through storms and it was terrible. I was so tired.
So
So other than that, everything was pretty good.
now, weather-wise, was it how many days you think total that were kind of shitty weather? Was it most of the time decent, or did you guys just get some not the good shake of it this year?
I swear I hit everything. There was, I don't remember. I really don't remember the first day weather. I don't remember that at all. The second day, I got, in that the second day was great because it was all in Minnesota. I'm like, sweet, I know these roads. And
Back home.
but we got into one rainstorm that was great. It rained pretty good. It wasn't the worst. but it rained pretty good. I seen it, and I know the weather here, so I seen it. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to gear up for this one. Geared up, rode through it because rainstorms in Minnesota last hours. Got through that one, it was fine. And then there might have been 2 days, the whole rest of the event, that I didn't have to put on my rain gear.
Oh, Jesus.
Every day I'd ride, and then I'd be like, gear up, and then ride through it, gear down because it's 100 degrees again, and then ride through it. It was brutally hot through the central part of the country. And then we actually took the loneliest road in the world through Nevada, and that was brutally hot. That was pretty cool, though. I don't know if you've ever ridden that, or if any of your viewers have ridden that. I think we were going east to west, and you probably saw the picture. I know Custom Dynamics reused my picture, reposted it. It was pretty cool. But I was riding, and I mean, it seemed like I was riding forever, and I'm like, I got to get a picture of this. And I literally stopped, put my bike on the center stand, right on the center line, and took a picture forward and back. I mean, it was just, the road is straight as far as you can see. And hot. It was so hot. And I remember going through the desert, and it would like climb up the other side, right? So I'm thinking, man, when I get to the top of that, I'm going to be out of this. Thank God, because we've been in here forever. And I got to the top, and I remember in my helmet out loud just going, fuck, because it was another road, the same thing as far as I could see.
Oh, shit. It's like Groundhog's Day.
It was so funny. I'm like, that, I can see why it's the loneliest highway in the world.
Now, so you guys hit the...
hot. And I was, for some reason, like I was at the right pace where I was clipping these storms as they were coming into the route. Like I was just catching the edge, and then like I'd look at the radar and it'd be right behind me. Anybody behind me was getting held up. So I rode through some pretty nasty stuff, but the worst, I think, and I'm not sitting at my desk, so I don't have my computer, but I want to say it was like Howard Lake, maybe in eastern Nevada, northeast Nevada. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but there's a place there. We were going north. We came in along the south of the lake and then headed up the west side. And there's a place there where I would say if there's ever been a such thing as a tornado simulator, that was it. This was the second time I like said something out loud in my helmet. I'm sure I said a lot of things, but it was getting dark and the wind was just insane. But it wasn't coming from any one direction. And I remember going over a bridge and I crossed the bridge, so the wind was like, it felt like it was doing this whole deal underneath and swirling around the bridge, and then front to back. The wind was hitting me from all four sides. And I got across the bridge, and it seemed like there was a mountain range on my left, like a big hill or something. And I remember looking at the mountain going, where the fuck are you coming from? Because the wind was from every single direction. And at one point, it felt like it tried to pick me up off the bike. I don't know if that was, hallucinating or what, because I don't think I was that tired at that point, but it was pretty crazy wind right through there. And it seemed like the next morning we were on like this mass text from the Hoka Hey that said, wind advisory in that area that I had been through. Like wind was really bad. I don't remember what the rest of it said, but I was already through it. So
yeah, you're like, yeah, no shit, I already seen it.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. So weather-wise, that's kind of, I caught the front edge of a lot of storms. Right at the finish, I had to go through up Needles Highway. You just did that.
That was awesome.
I did Needles Highway going up in the hail. It was hailing. Cars were pulling over because it was unsafe, I was just laughing as I went by because I was following the tire tracks going up the mountain, up the hill. And then you go down that, and then we had to go through the park. Like we had to pay admission and take Needles Highway back up. And does that say Pyramid Lake?
Pyramid Lake, or you said, or maybe Heart Lake.
Heart Lake? It could be that. It was in northwest Nevada. That seems to be what I remember. I don't know why I remember Howard Lake, if maybe that was a town or whatever. But yeah, I don't remember the name of it. But Needles Highway. So coming down 385, I had to go through the state park. I don't know if you did that. And
Yeah.
then you take 385 into Hot Springs where the finish was. And it was whiteout hail, like a winter storm. And I'm like,
Jesus.
I kind of like looked left to right, and all I could see was the crown of the road, of the hill. It seemed like we were on top of a hill. Like I said, it was whiteout, so I couldn't really tell, just kind of see the outline of it. And I kind of laughed. I'm like, there's no point even stopping. If I stop, I'm still going to be getting pummeled by hail. So
Yeah,
I might as well
true.
just keep going. And as I rode through it, and then it just poured rain all the way to the finish. Now, I don't know if you saw me come in at the finish line, but I
I did actually.
completely soaked. Completely soaked. And frozen. I didn't realize I was cold until, of course, I shut the bike off and got off, and then I was just uncontrollably shivering. I couldn't stop. But doing that, getting through those two storms, got me two positions. I saw a couple guys sitting under an awning that were waiting out the weather. I don't know if maybe if they didn't know I was that close, or which they shouldn't have, I guess, because we're not supposed to be watching, or they just were like, this has to end, and they had enough. So
hail can be brutal going through it. I mean, I've read through some. I don't know if quite, the style of hail they get over there. I mean, the stuff I've been through, like pea-size hail and wearing a half helmet. That was brutal riding down the road with my arm up over my face. But tell you what, I did it once in a full face helmet, and it is crazy how freaking loud it is inside your helmet as that stuff's bouncing off your noggin.
Yeah. And I don't think this was any bigger than pea size. I mean, I don't know. I know it hurt when it hit me. I took a good one to the knuckle. That hurt, but had a couple good whaps to the helmet. But yeah, I don't know how big it was. I wasn't stopping. The road sucked.
No, you guys did in Oregon. You came up, didn't you guys go along the Columbia River Gorge between Washington and Oregon?
Yeah.
I think that was part of the route.
Yeah, and I'm just assuming that's the river between the two.
Yeah.
The two states. We were in Oregon. We got up. We went through Portland and then took some little road across, and then had to take a toll bridge to get into Washington. I should do it backwards so it's on your screen right. Toll bridge to Washington, and then we followed that river for quite a while. I want to say it was like 180 miles or something. Does that sound right?
Yeah, probably would have been most likely Highway 14. It's a 2-lane highway. I think it's 14 on the Washington side.
Yeah, it could be. And then I think we took a bridge. We had to have taken a bridge back across, I guess. So that was
somewhere.
That was I laid down on that stretch somewhere to take a nap. Laid down on the side, basically found a place where you could go into the field, like a farm field entrance or whatever. And I just rolled the bike in there, put it on the kickstand, laid down on the ground, and I got a little bit of sleep there too, broad daylight.
Yeah, that can be one of those areas where it can be windy as holy hell too.
Yeah, I don't remember it being real windy. I think it was pretty nice.
God, you got lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that wasn't
I feel like we got pretty lucky.
The last checkpoint, that was High Desert in Boise, wasn't it? High Desert Harley-Davidson?
Yeah. Yeah, that one, I got there, I think I got there like 12:30 or 1 o'clock in the morning or something. I think I came into that one live on Facebook just to see if anybody was awake. And there was nobody around. I'm like, I thought these were supposed to be, staffed 24 hours a day. There was a table, like a folding table, plastic table. Sign your name, what date you're there, and then take a route sheet. That was it. There was nobody around. So I grabbed a route sheet, and now I'm waiting. I shipped my stuff there, right? And I think it was 6:30 in the morning. I woke up, or 6 o'clock in the morning. I woke up, and I'm like, oh man, I should get going. Packed my stuff up, and 6:30. I'm like, there's nobody here. I'm not waiting. So I took off. Yeah, there was nobody at that one. But I don't know how that. According to the riders, that wasn't the greatest stop, but I don't know. Other than them not being there, that kind of sucked, but I don't know. I didn't hear any great stories from that place, but I didn't.
There's some good riding around that area.
I shouldn't say anything. Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, there's some nice areas up through the Panhandle that way, up through Montana, and there are some cool roads and whatnot up that area. I've been through there a few times now. My nephew used to work at High Desert Harley-Davidson.
Did he?
Yeah, about 2 years ago, I think he worked there for about a year.
Huh.
Sales stuff wasn't for him.
No,
Yeah, just wasn't working. So he was doing
he got
other
out
stuff,
right
but
before it got easy.
yeah. But it is what it is. It's all life's adventures.
Right.
So how long did it take you to actually recover from all this riding once you finished?
I think last Monday.
I would believe it.
So when I got back, I got back. It took 11 days, 9 hours to finish.
That's good.
Yeah, I was happy with that. Way ahead of schedule. According to my odometer, I had 10,293 miles. And I did a lot of just eat, sleep, repeat until the party. And the party was on Saturday night, I think. And then, we had like all the guys helped. We put the bike back in the van. The Hoka Hey, the end of the road party, I think that's what it was called, was there. And then Sunday morning got up, drove home. So, I didn't really get to rest. And then I think Wednesday I had to head back out to the Black Hills for Adventure Fest. So we had an event that following weekend. And then I was home for, I want to say 3 days, or no, maybe it was longer. Might have been a week. But then that was all prep for Sturgis. And then we had the rally, and we were there for 3 weekends. So I think this past Monday, I slept in, and I actually didn't get to my own shop until almost noon. It was nice.
I bet it was. Because, you're doing what, probably 16-hour days the whole time you're at Sturgis? All day doing, with your booth and all the vendor stuff?
Yeah, by the time it's all said and done, we get up at, I think, 5:30. I was getting up every day, and then I didn't have to cook breakfast every day. Renee was with, so she did breakfast for everybody most of the days. I did a couple days. Everybody kind of took their turn. Renee did the bulk of that, but we'd work basically 8 in the morning till 8 at night, and then get back to the house and have a good dinner. And, by then it's 9, 10 o'clock and we're crashing for the next day.
And then repeat.
Yep.
Yeah, that'd be, because you're, going from one event to the next and next. Like you say, with only a couple days in between, it's like you really never have time to decompress and just kind of get back to a normal way of sleeping.
Right.
Getting your, enough sleep to get yourself feel good.
Right. This last week's been really good. We've been shutting down the shop at 2 in the afternoon. I'll stay till 3 or 4, but really it's like, no, we need to unwind. Let's take care of the customers that need us right away. Get our shipping done, and then we'll continue tomorrow. And then now we'll get back to work this week. So
what's your next show you got lined up?
Fall's kind of a quiet time for us. Our next event, we're heading to Daytona in October.
Oh, okay. So you got some downtime.
Yeah. So we get to, get caught up in a lot of it's prep for next year already. We already know when the events are, where we're going to be. It's just structuring all the behind the scenes stuff to get it there. When did I stop having Hoka? Oh, Kim, it's Twister. I thought that was just me. So evidently Twister had those too. I actually had to call Riot and go, what the hell's the deal? Is this normal? And he said, yes, it is. And what she's talking about, if you've ever done anything like this, I didn't know it was a thing, but it was probably 2.5, 3 weeks. I was dreaming of, riding, and I got to get up and I got to get going. And it was crazy that, the dreams I was having afterwards. It was awesome. Damn. I don't know. I'd have the same question for Twister, how long she was having those, because it doesn't sound like I'm the only one. It seems like that's pretty normal.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Hey, but then you got some good, adventures and education and riding. When we talked last night, we did a little ordeal yesterday.
Yeah. What a dick. So what Denver's talking about.
Oh, this is good.
This is funny. So we did this ride. It's called the Duffy's Ride. There's a place in town, in Minnesota, I should say. It's south of here. I think it ended up being just shy of 400-mile day. But this place, Duffy's, has 3 bars. And if you go to all 3 in one day, they give you a T-shirt. It's kind of a cool deal. The family does it. My uncle, actually a couple uncles, my dad and my brother. A lot of these guys get together and they do this every year. And I'd never done it before. I'm like, yeah, I'll come with. So I did. Mind you, I just got back from the Hoka Hey, right? 10,000 miles. Bike was flawless. 83 miles in, my bike died. I mean, it just flat run out of gas. I'm like, what the hell? That's weird. And it had gas. I mean, I knew it had gas. And I'm not the most mechanical guy there is. So, I checked everything I could. First thing I did immediately was just start pushing it because I knew where everybody was going. I looked on a map. It was just a few, it was probably half mile. So I just jumped off the bike and started pushing it and heading uphill. It's not like a steep hill. It's a Harley, for Christ's sakes. You can't push them up a steep hill. But I'm walking with the bike and all of a sudden I hear some lady hollered at me. I'm like, what? Well, she was hollering out of her window and there's another guy working on his car right there. So I stopped. Of course, I couldn't hear her because I was pushing the bike. Put the kickstand down, walk up, start talking to her. And she's like, man, Twister says 2 to 3 weeks. Good. I'm not abnormal. So I'm like, yeah, I don't know what it is. I'll figure it out. Just give me some time. I just needed to think a little bit. I mean, I know the basics, right? It needs fuel and it needs spark. So I quickly deduced that it was not getting fuel. So I popped the air cleaner off. And the guy came walking up with starting fluid. I'm like, this is perfect. Spray some starting fluid in it. I'm like, by the time I get this figured out, someone will be back here to help me. I didn't realize how much time had passed at this point. But I just thought, well, let's just start tearing into it and get it done. So I decided I'm going to call my dad, right? Because he was part of the group. I'm like, can't believe nobody's coming back. Did they forget where I was? Or did they? It was like 6-8 blocks. And he's like, yeah, well, we just ordered breakfast. We'll come back when we get done eating. So ended up figuring it out. And I went to catch them at breakfast while they were all paying for breakfast. So guess who missed breakfast? So made it 10,000 miles, 10,293. And I know I would not have made 10,393. That would have had an issue. So the vacuum line on the petcock just vibrated off. Who knows why? So that's cool. You said your dad had that same issue.
Yeah, he did. It was like 20 something years ago. We were on a trip and he had just gotten his bike out of the shop. It had, had the 5,000 mile service, I think, or one of them. And that same line came off. Pulling out Ellensburg. So I pushed him a quarter mile to a hotel. And we ended up just staying there. And, it was about 3 hours later. Me and one of his buddies that was with us, Bob, were talking. It's like, fuck, I wonder. Because from, years of racing motorcycles, the old Hondas, I mean, it's a weird thing, it's 1950s technology. Run out there with a little flashlight, and sure as shit, you can see that shiny little brass nipple where that hose came off. I'm like,
Yep.
Clip it on, boom, fired right up. I'm like, well, fuck, too late. We already paid for this room, and,
Yeah, at that point,
it's just one of those things.
Get some rest.
Yeah, it was common.
Yeah, it made for an adventure. And, and that's the stuff stories come from, the perfect ride nobody talks about.
That's right. You got to have the ups and downs and the trials and tribulations and the cussing at the moment, but only to laugh at it, 30 seconds down the road once you're back on it.
Yeah.
Been there, done that.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's like I said, though, it's all part of the adventure.
Yeah.
The camaraderie, and some stranger you don't know comes out, oh, here, let's do this, and, giving you a hand. You had no idea who he was, but it's just how it works sometimes.
That it is. We had, came across a couple guys that had some issues with their bikes on the road, and stopped, check on them. Sounds like there's quite a few that didn't, people just rode by. I don't know. But during the Hoka Hey, it was kind of we're all out there alone, but together. So everybody was fine. One guy had a busted belt, but he had help on the way. So.
Do you think you'd ever sign up for it again?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yep. I even immediately afterwards, I said I would absolutely do it. And that's my immediate reaction. Yes, I would absolutely do it again. The next one, of course, is during the Sturgis rally, so I'm not doing that one. Uh, we'll see what happens
Oh, the
in the
2024 is
future.
during the Sturgis rally?
Yeah, yeah, it's during the rally, so I'm not going, but you will see what happens. I think there's some judgment calls that whoever's in charge at the Hoka Hey has to make,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll see. We'll see how some things are handled, but
Yeah, they still got time
they
to
do
plan. I mean,
they
because
do the
that's
best they can.
24. Right.
What's that?
So they got time to plan that out. I mean, the next one's 2024.
Oh, they got it planned out.
Oh,
No,
okay.
there was, yeah, no, they got it planned out, so it's all good. I got some stuff planned for next summer and the following year that I'm going to try to do, but no, the Hoka Hey won't be one of those because, well, they don't run it next year and the following year. Like I said, it's during the motorcycle rally.
Yeah.
So I gotta be there for that.
So you're going to throw in some adventure bike stuff for next year?
Um, Not for fundraiser stuff, no, but I'll ride that thing every chance I get. Um, that I absolutely love that bike. Um, I don't know if you know who Larry Patton is. He's an old Hoka Hey guy.
Not
He
sure.
he came to Adventure Fest. He's got a KLR 650, and we got to spend a day riding together. And man, that's such a blast. So much fun. I mean, guy like yourself, or me, for instance, strong dirt bike background. That's the way to go for me. I absolutely love that.
I would love to get a dual sport, some style of, adventure bike, something big enough that you could still, take off on a couple day adventure. So, I mean,
Yeah,
God, the KLR 650s are time tested and proven, but I'd like, something a little bit bigger maybe. But I would love to get one at some point. I think it'd just be a blast, especially, a lot of the Forest Service roads up through the Cascades, and, you can go on and off in different places. It'd be a blast.
yeah, it'd be great. And KLR is all anybody needs. It's a turd, in some standards, but it's a great bike. You don't, you're not going to run it. I wouldn't. I see them all the time on the freeway, but um, secondary roads, you don't need to go any faster than a KLR comfortably go. They're
Yeah.
good bikes.
All been around forever. And like I said, yeah, you see so many of the people take those things everywhere.
Yeah,
Alaska, running the Dalton Highway and all that crap. It's like, damn,
yeah,
they will run.
yep.
The old thumpers.
They'll do everything well, but they're not great at anything. that's the
That's a good way
that's
of
the way
putting
that
it.
KLR works. Yep.
Yeah. So you got any, motorcycle stuff much going to go on for the rest of the year? It's just pretty much going to be some downtime.
Well, um, in the world of wild ass, it's like I say, it's all behind the scenes stuff that's going to be happening.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Yesterday I did that ride. I'm doing that same ride next weekend with a different uncle. My brother couldn't make yesterday, so he's going next weekend. It sounds like it'll be quite a group, so we're going to do that next weekend. The following weekend is the Craig Johnson Memorial Ride. Yes, I host my own memorial ride because if I don't, I won't be there for it, right? Um, so that story came about because a buddy of mine put together this ride every year. Now, as your listeners listen to this will make sense. Every ride, goes bar to bar, right? Even if you're not bar hopping, if you ride, 150 miles, where do you stop for lunch? A bar. You ride another 100 miles, where do you stop for a snag? A bar.
Right.
Um, so in every single bar, there's this, picture that says "Ride in memory of Craig," "Ride in memory of Tom," right? And we were sitting there, and I looked over at the sign. I looked at my buddy, and I said, "Man, that guy's getting fucked." And he goes, "What? What do you mean? Like all his buddies are getting together, and he's not around to ride with them. Why didn't they all do it when he was alive? Everybody's too busy." I said, "You know what? I'm having my own memorial ride. Then all you sons of bitches can't have all the fun without me." And he laughs and he goes, "Wait a minute, that's a pretty good idea." And I said,
Yeah.
"All right, we're doing it in September." So it's always the Saturday after Labor Day, and this year is the 10th annual.
I like
10th
that
annual,
idea.
the 10th annual Craig Johnson Memorial Ride is this year. and it leaves the world headquarters of Wild Ass at 10 o'clock in the morning if anybody wants to come and ride with us. There's no entry fee, so it's no money, no cause. Let's just get together and ride. And it's fun. I mean, there's been as few as 6 bikes. There's been as many as 20. Maybe 20 something. I don't know, but it's not a huge deal. We just get together and ride. And every year I have to pick out a different route. So that's coming up in a couple weeks. So I'm looking forward to that. That's always fun. Riot even rode over for it last year.
That's cool. I mean, it is a cool idea.
Pretty funny. Yeah.
So, roughly how far do is it like a 200-mile ride, 4 or 5 hours, or,
yeah,
what's the gist of it?
So we'll ride, we'll get on the bikes and we'll ride. I'll try to make it about an hour and a half to the first stop. So depending on the roads, it's anywhere from, 75 to 100 miles.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, I don't know if you haven't been to Minnesota, I'm assuming.
No, I haven't been out to Minnesota.
Don't you know? Where I live, there are not straight roads. There's too many lakes. So we have a lot of good roads, a lot of good riding. But a lot of people don't know about it, of course. So we'll do that, hour and a half to the first stop, an hour and a half to the second stop, and an hour and a half to the final stop. So it always starts, it has always started at the gas station right down from where I live, but now it starts at the world headquarters of Wild Ass. And I think, I don't know, 4 years maybe we've been starting there. I can't remember. And then it ends just on the north side of town. There's some really good, eateries right up here close to where I live. And then after the ride, I have the bonfire for the Sturgis party. So all the crew that worked Sturgis comes over. Anybody's welcome to join us. And they all get paid for Sturgis. And then the workers, so you get this gift bag from Black Hills Harley, you get, gift bags from J&P Cycles, and then whatever other stuff we collect, that people give us for, thank you for coming. We've won bottles of booze. We've won, different things that we end up getting for being there. But I put all their names in hats and their spouses, and then we just raffle it off. And sometimes it's, I think last year everybody's favorite was that stupid Metzler elephant bobblehead. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but
we got some bobble. I don't know if I've seen that one, but yeah, kids collected them for years ago.
Yeah, and sometimes it's a bottle of really good booze. You never know what it is, but I just kind of compile it up, and they're all the ones that came and helped us with it. So I give it all to them and their wives, or significant others.
Right.
And it's a good time. And then we have a bonfire, and everybody shoots the shit. We share favorite part of the rally stories. So one thing I do at Wild Ass every night when we're on the road, when we sit down for dinner, it's, what's your favorite part of the day? And everybody's got to share their favorite part of the day, which, basically it ends the day on a positive, right? So
That's
no matter what it is. So when we do the bonfire, it's what's your favorite part of the rally? And then everybody has to, think of what the best part of the rally was. And that just gets story time going, but you can't share your story until everybody says their favorite part. And then they have to say the end, like I'll tell you my favorite part of the day and then say the end. And then it goes around the table. And then once it's done, of course, the stories that all those favorite parts bring up come out to light. And then it's cool to do that here because the spouses, the significant others, they all get to hear these stories that they weren't there to be a part of.
That's pretty cool.
So,
I like that.
It's fun.
Because, doing that, it's like you said, somebody might forget about something, and, somebody else's story is just going to jog that little memory there, something they want to remember, but can't forget, and then, the round table goes.
Yep.
I like that.
And the thing that we have to realize is, these are 12-hour days out on the pavement. And this year it was over 100 degrees a number of the days. So it's brutal work. I mean, you're physically exhausted at the end of the rally, at the end of each day, let alone you compound the whole rally. I think the girls, so Renee, Callie, and myself, we were there for I think like 19 or 20 days. So we worked every single day, where the rest of the crew, they come in for half or part of the rally and then they go home. So that last, like I said, this past Monday was epic crash day
Oh, I
for
bet.
everybody.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
you get that heat radiating off that asphalt out there in that parking lot. That place is huge, too. Holy crap.
Isn't it?
That parking lot is
Yeah.
ginormous.
Yeah, it is. If you guys haven't been to Sturgis, you need to come to the rally at exit 55. That's right at Black Hills Harley in Rapid City, right at exit 55 on, I think it's I-90.
Yeah.
And I think they added a few years back, I think they added 15 acres of pavement to that parking lot.
Well, and
To
what's
give you an
crazy is
idea.
you can look across the highway and there's a truck stop. And you could probably fit 4 or 5 of those truck stops in the parking lot of Black Hills. How big
Right?
that place is. Like, my God. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It is a freaking cool place. So that is a beautiful area. I know we're gonna go back next summer and just try to explore and see more areas since we basically had one day got shot down the drain when I was there. So,
Yeah,
but yeah, it was beautiful, and I'd never been there this year. Even Amy's like, we got to go come back. I'm like, all right,
you do.
works for me.
Depending on when you go, let me know, because I can get you in touch with the place I stay. 2-bedroom place, really cool place. Guy that owns it's awesome. So I
Okay.
can maybe get you a place to stay there that's not far away, and it's not a hotel, so you can cook your own and take care of
Yeah.
yourself when you're there.
Hey, that'd be super cool. Yeah, we'll definitely keep that in mind.
Yep.
Well, shoot, man, thanks for coming on. Taking some time out of your night. I know it's a nice Sunday night and chilling, but
Yep.
it's fun to catch up and get you back on here and and hear some of the stories and whatnot. That's what it's all
Yeah, I
about. It's what I
appreciate it.
enjoy doing.
Yeah, I appreciate it. The show's been great.
Hey, thank you.
I'm happy to come back on. Love it. So
Heck yeah, I
good
enjoy Wild
stuff.
Ass Wednesdays. Those are good times.
Yeah, I need to get back to those. That'll
That's been a
start, I
while.
think, this week. It's been a long time. I counted it out. I think I've been home, I think it was 52 days since, counting weekends, since February.
Jesus.
So the Wild Ass Wednesday kind of got put on the back burner along with a few other things that I need to get back into, which I said I'm just going to let me get through August, and we'll be fired up and running. So we'll have those going again. Wild Ass Wednesdays, those are, for those of you watching, 8 o'clock Central Time. I think you have to follow the Wild Ass page on Facebook to see those.
Yeah.
I do them live. I only do them there. It's basically me sitting at my desk rambling. That's about all it is. And whatever topics come up, if somebody asks me something, I'll answer it. I'd love to have you guys tune in and listen. Can I plug my podcast? That's coming back
Absolutely,
too.
man. Go for it. Plug your
So the Wild
site,
Ass
your
Podcast.
podcast.
Yep, the Wild Ass Podcast is. I have another one coming out Monday. So my goal, and you know this, you've been on it.
Yes.
Was to have one every other Monday, and just for eternity. And once I got into, I think, June, it just went click, 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 and I just did not have the time to do any of it. So my podcast, my last one might have been in June, might have been in July. I don't remember, but it was with Brian Clock. It was episode 13. It was a great episode. And then the one that comes out tomorrow, actually midnight tonight, tomorrow morning, it's with Sean Thomas, who is the brand ambassador, or he's the spokesperson. What is he called? I can't remember his title. I put it in there anyways. But he's the guy, he is the guy for BMW with their GS line of motorcycles. If you watch
that's
the
awesome.
GS Trophy, if you go to Amazon, you can search the GS Trophy, and you'll find out what that event is. He is the guy that hosts the show. Super nice guy. And he's a riot. We have so much fun when we get to hang out together and talk to him. But he's on there next, and then it'll be weekly now until I'm caught up to my every other week plan. The following week is Ben Fopp, the number 1 qualifier to represent the U.S. in the GS Trophy, which starts, I think it's next weekend. They fly over to Albania next weekend. So
I'm gonna have to go watch
so
that.
the Wild Ass Podcast. I talk to people who I've met, become friends with, gotten to know throughout my motorcycle career, my career in the industry. We've talked to everybody from long distance riders to Denver podcast hosts. I had Kid Moto from the Five Dirty Bikers on there, to different people in the industry. So it's been pretty cool. I've even had John Ferrian, who is brand new to the motorcycle, and he's a brand new motorcyclist. So
he's a snowmobiling fool.
He that's no kidding. And Twister, you're on my hit list, so maybe get her on the show. I had to take a break from the Hoka Hey guys. We can't do them all back to back, but man, they got some cool stories. So I'm looking forward to working down the list of people I got that have agreed to come on the show. So it's quite a list. You'll want to tune in. That'd be awesome. Yep. So it's just the Wild Ass Podcast. It's on Apple, Spotify, everywhere podcasts are cool, I guess. And if it's not, then just let me know and I'll get it on there. So
there we go.
Yeah. So,
but no, it is cool, man. You got a really cool format, and you're. I love the endings when you got your. We don't want to give too much away. You guys got to tune in and check out how he ends his podcast.
It's the 5 questions, man. That's something that everybody should know. It's not so much should know, but the cool part is, and what Denver's talking about, I'll share it. Is I have a few questions. I won't ask you the questions here. Let's not do that.
Yeah.
But I want to get different people. People at different parts of their life or different points in time, and it basically are questions that make them think. And the responses I've gotten, they're crazy. Like, they're so different, so good, and some of them it just stumps the guest. It's like I don't know. I don't have an answer. And then they'll reach out to me later and go, "Oh man, I thought of an answer. Too late." You missed it.
It's funny how that happens. 3 hours later, like 2 days later, like a light bulb turning on. Bing! Oh, there we go. Yep,
it's crazy. So yeah, that part of the podcast is always really fun because I love hearing, there's one piece that I got from Brian Clock that I echoed through my head the entire Hoka Hey, and that's no sudden movements. And then I have another one, not with Sean, but with Ben, that has stuck in my head since I recorded that one, which is target fixation, which is often a negative term, but you'll have to listen to the podcast to find out what we're talking about there, because it's pretty cool, pretty interesting.
Nice.
So yeah, that's where you tune in and listen.
Yeah. Time to gear back up and bring back. If you want
to hear from people, if anybody wants to hear from people, you just got to shoot me a message. Say, hey, man, I want to get this guy on the show, get that girl on the show, I've had some suggestions and I've reached out to people and they're coming on. So it's pretty cool stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, you've helped me get some guests lined up and help set up some, and it's awesome. I greatly appreciate it.
Yeah. It's my privilege to be able to help. I mean, if we can help you grow your show and get some exposure for some people that are doing good things, it's a win for everybody, and that's what I like.
Absolutely. So, well, Craig, in closing, thank you very much. This has been a lot of fun, a good time. You guys can check out therealwildass.com. You got your, what is it, The Real Wild Ass?
Therealwildass.com.
Wild-ass.com. There we go. The Real Wild Ass on Instagram.
We're not responsible for your Google searches there.
Yeah. That's funny.
That is funny.
All right, guys. Hey, everybody, thank you for tuning in to another Milepost of the V-Twin Life. Milepost 73. Damn, man, we're almost at 75. Crazy.
We're making it. Almost
That's
to
right.
triple digits. Hundreds where
Craig,
it's at, man. Most places
I know.
don't make it. So
That'll be a serious milestone.
Yeah. Cool.
You're going to think of something big for that one. So, but hey, thank you very much, Craig, for coming out tonight. It's been a lot of fun, and I love hearing these stories. And everybody, all you guys tuning in, and also coming with questions. It's a lot of fun doing these because you get the side chat. People sometimes have the answers we don't have. Trying to think of something like the lake we were talking about, or come up with some great questions. So
yeah,
it's a lot of fun doing them this way. And thank you everybody for tuning in. Until next Sunday, the guests will be coming out very soon. Y'all stay tuned. We will see you next week.
Hey, thanks, Denver.
Hey, thanks, Greg.